Alright, gang, welcome back to another episode of the GareTheBear Show podcast. Today's episode, I'm talking a little about how the COVID-19 pandemic shaped my content. Now, I was looking around for podcast ideas a few weeks back, and this is something that came up that I had never really considered, really. This was an idea that I just kind of found, and I got thinking about it, and I was like, well, it really did have a decent effect on what my content looks like today, and just generally how I make my content as a whole. So when I started my YouTube channel, I started in August of 2019, so that was pre-pandemic, right? That was, you had about 6 to 8 months until it started to get kind of crazy. But first, I wanted to say that there was several phases, I think, that my channel went through during this time, and I've got my videos pulled up here because I wanted to kind of take you through the history as far as okay, so this is when the pandemic started, and this is what I was making. And then by the end, or towards the end, once it's kind of started to slow down a bit, this is what I was making. So we're going through sort of in phases. So at the very beginning, I'm trying to figure out approximately when, I was like, okay, it's time to stay home, or whenever everybody was kind of in lockdown. And I think I can kind of tell because you at first you get some vlogs, and then boom, staying at home. All the vlogging aspect of my channel really took a screeching halt there for a minute. And that was probably by design, probably for the best, because you see here 3 years ago, the robotics vlog, and then the vlog where we almost bought Crocs, and then there's fun facts, and then 2K, and then a giveaway, and then a drawing video, and then a couple of just sit-down videos, unboxing, and then there's a social isolation video. So there's all these videos that whenever it first kind of started, I had to sort of experiment with my content, because at the very beginning, I didn't really know. Well, truthfully, whenever all of the pandemic first came about, I wasn't super, whenever it first started, I was only a few months into my channel to begin with. I hadn't really made a ton of videos, hadn't really found my voice on the platform, I hadn't really found out what I do, my content, what do I make. So it was an interesting time because not only did I have certain restraints on my content, but I was just figuring it out in general as a whole. I wasn't sure where I was headed, what direction I was going in. So with that, I would have been testing anyway. In this time, I was testing out content anyway. Now, I think had there not been the pandemic, I would have tested, and I would have done different things. I think I would have done different because I remember, especially once I got to making my Minecraft stuff during the pandemic, I made a whole series, Quarantine Craft. So I started a Minecraft series. I did, 9 episodes on the channel? I think I actually had 10 or 11 recorded, but I never uploaded them. But whenever I was doing those, I remember distinctly thinking, well, I'll make this because it's easy and I can batch record them and make a whole bunch of them. That way I have content coming out every week or every couple of days or whatever it was. I wanted to make sure I was having stuff coming out because I thought at that time, well, this is a time where everybody's home, and there was YouTubers blowing up left and right just in general, just because that's the climate at that time. Everybody was making lots of content. Everybody was popping off, making a bunch of stuff. So I figured I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. We're going for quantity here. And this was, at the time, the most quantity I'd ever posted, right? I posted episode 1, and I could click on them and watch. But they were essentially, if I remember correctly, they were approximately a week apart. Every episode came out once or twice a week. So I was able to post consistently, relatively, but because before that it was really, really hard to do. Because I had 20 videos before the pandemic started. 20 or 30 videos, nothing to write home about. But I remember thinking when I was posting those, I was like, well, I'll have this easy content. I'll be able to get stuff out regularly, and I don't have to worry. But then I kind of got tired of it. I just kind of was over the Minecraft scene. At that time, I was just kind of posting these to kind of just to have videos. And then I think about this time too was when I started the gaming channel. So Quarantine Craft ended. And then I eventually sent it over to the gaming channel, and I made like one episode over there. And then I just quit that series altogether. But that's another story. And then after the quarantine craft ended, I started really getting big into the challenges, or at least big-ish. My first big challenge video was spending 24 hours straight in my car. And this was another sort of evolutionary step in my content, because this was switching from doing what I thought was easy to doing something a bit harder, doing a bigger project. So I stayed in my car for 24 hours straight, 100% real. Watch the video if you want. It's super long and it kind of sucks, so I wouldn't blame you if you don't want to. I think it sucks now, because I think, looking back on it, another side tangent, this video is basically 27 minutes long. Nowadays, with my current skills and my current abilities of things, had I rigged down it probably would be a 10-minute video, roughly. It's just a lot of stuff needs to be cut out of there, just saying. But I did that, and then my first, other than with my family, my first interaction was whenever my friend Peyton and I did the one chip challenge, and this was something we had planned on doing a long time ago, but obviously it never really came to be. Minty Winter Eyes, what's up, man? But we did the 24 hours in the car, then we did the one chip challenge. There was a couple of more here and there. A little while after that, though, we started kind of sort of seeing some more vlogs, just every here and there. But the main vlog that I had during the pandemic, the first real big vlog that I ended up doing was the graduating high school vlog, when I graduated high school. And this was a whole video event. I was really looking forward to making this one, and it was a really cool video overall. Again, could have made it better, but it's not the point. But this was probably about July. Everything really kind of hit in March/April of 2020. This was June or July, I can never remember. It was when I graduated high school. You would think I would remember, but I don't really remember now. But it was approximately June or July, and it was a good video. I liked it, and it was fun, and it was the first sort of out of the house, out in real life content that I did. Because up until that point, it was all at the house. It was all at home. All of it was at home content. So this was a nice breath of fresh air, and I thought at the time that was the best video I'd ever made. So because I was able to get out and I was able to do things, it was just a really, really fun, not only the video making, but the whole experience in general. It was really, really cool. But let me see. Let's go back to my points, because I'm kind of getting off track here. So I was experimenting with the Minecraft, with the 2K videos. We did some Lego videos. We did some painting custom fidget spinners. We did hydro dipping fidget spinners. I did some paint videos, made some TikToks, did a reaction, made a cat video. And there's all kinds of different. It was really, really random. It was a really, really random era. But again, I was at home, nothing else to do, kind of in lockdown. So it was like, yeah, we'll experiment a little bit, see what pops. We'll see what we like to do, see what does well. And this was all pre even graduating high school, much less dropping out of college. So I did not have this office that you're seeing me sit in. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching, if you're seeing me sitting in this didn't exist. This space didn't exist. I mean, it did, but not as it is now. So I did all my editing from home, because I don't have internet in my house, but I had the editing that I use. It doesn't require internet. I don't think any of them do really, but so I could edit all my videos from home. I recorded them all at home. I edited them all at home, and I would record a couple videos at a time, edit a couple of videos at a time, come in here to the internet, and then just upload them all, and then I would have however many scheduled out. So I didn't do a whole lot of vlogs. I did a lot of at home content, edited it from home, and it was a lot of experimenting. But the next point, I said something about how there weren't really a whole ton of vlogs, and that's about how it was. And then, because I graduated high school, my mom took me on a trip. We went on a road trip out west, and we did a lot of fun things. And so I documented that whole adventure, that whole excursion. And this was my first taste of daily vlogging, because I vlogged the process every day, but I never did get to edit any of it until we got back. So this adventure, we went 10 different states in 10 days. And every single day, I had a folder on my phone, because that was what I was vlogging with at the time. I had a folder on my phone where I would record that whole entire day, and I would put it separate. So every day had, pictures for thumbnails, the videos, like the clips, everything for each individual vlog. And so this was a really, really good time, I think, looking back, as far as capturing and documenting things. And not to mention, it was just an awesome time in general. We had so much fun doing everything. We went everywhere. But this was, whenever I got back, I edited like 2 videos a day. I did the first couple of days, edited them, and then I had them scheduled out so they would come out every single day. And it was really, really cool. And it was a fun experience for me because I had never done daily content before. So it was fun seeing GareTheBear posted the video, GareTheBear posted the video, GareTheBear posted the video every single day. So it was a cool time. But this was July/August of 2020. So we're talking still in the bulk of the pandemic. Not as much of a harsh lockdown at this point, but we were definitely there was a lot of guidelines we had to follow wherever we went. We went on a road trip. We were going to go over to France and watch the French Open tennis tournament, but it didn't end up happening because COVID. So this was our backup plan, and there's a lot of things we couldn't do, but it wasn't that we couldn't do things, it was more so a lot of things that were slightly adjusted because we had to wear masks and we had to, room capacities and distancing and all that kind of stuff. There was a lot of those types of things in place. So it was a really fun experience because it was really, really unique, and it was a lot of different things we were doing. It was a lot of things that was just us. So we went and we played mini golf, for example, and it was just us there doing it, right? There was a lot of campsites we stayed at, and everybody was really spread out. Let's see, that wasn't what I was talking about. But anyway, this was my first taste of real daily vlogging, and it was really, really fun. And then, like I said, that was sort of in the lockdown stage, not quite lockdown, but it was post-lockdown, to where it was just a lot of harsh guidelines. And then after that, that's when I went to college. And I actually, when I first got to college, I didn't make a video, or I didn't even really do anything YouTube related until like a few days in, when I did a Q&A video for my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. And at this point, my mindset was kind of like, well, I'm in college now. There's a lot of people here. Let's see what we can do as far as spreading the word of the YouTube channel, and just trying to grow a little bit. I wanted to do in my brain, I wanted to do a lot of word of mouth. So I would tell people about the channel. I would meet new people, and it would be more of an open environment where lots of people were down for that kind of thing. And so I would be like, hey, this is my YouTube channel. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I make bangers. When, obviously, objectively looking back, it wasn't the greatest, but that's another story. But I wanted to spread the channel around by word of mouth and show it to people and show them what I had to offer. And at the start, it got kind of rocky with college and videos and stuff. I made the Q&A, then I had a reaction video, and then I made a video making ramen, which actually I'm looking at it on my screen, and I didn't realize I made them in this order, but that's, again, I don't even remember what videos I was making. And then I got with my girlfriend, Maddie, and we started making videos together. And that's when I think really that I sort of started to buy into the vlogging, because at first we did Who Was Most Likely To, and then like a girlfriend tag, and then stuff like that. And then we made a couple of vlogs together. We made a slushy vlog, and then we just would one day we were hanging out, and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna bring my phone with me. I haven't made a video in a while, so I'm gonna bring my phone with me, and we're gonna vlog. It's gonna have a fun time. We're gonna do whatever we do just for fun, but I'm gonna document it. I'm gonna make a vlog about it. It's gonna be fun. And so we did that, and after doing that a time or two, I got to editing them, and I was like, okay, these are actually really cool videos. I enjoy watching these. These are fun. So with that in mind, I just kind of kept with the vlogs. Obviously, a few here and there. I was really inconsistent. I made a few, like probably 3 of the next 10 videos were vlogs, 3 or 4. And then the rest were sort of sit down. We did a soda drinking challenge. It was really, really cool. And so that was early college, still in the pandemic at this point. That was early college. I was really getting frustrated because I was posting inconsistently and I wasn't seeing results. I wasn't getting views. I don't know. It was just really, really weird time for the channel. I was really just kind of frustrated. If I could make a blanket term for what I was feeling, it was just frustrated. Because I actually made a video, some of the hardest things about being a small YouTuber, and I don't remember. It was a while ago, but you could tell in that video how frustrated I was and how discouraged I was with what was going on with the channel. And I don't think I would blame. Honestly, I would say my expectations were a lot higher with the pandemic and everybody being on YouTube and the demand being there. But I just, at that point in time, and this is something I'm working on every day, I'm struggling with every day, is that I need to understand that, at this time, I needed to understand that what I was making just simply wasn't objectively good quality stuff. It just wasn't. And the fact that I did not realize that, I think, stunted me a little bit. I think that if I had taken a step back and realized that what I was making objectively wasn't great. So if I would have seen that earlier, like now I'm beginning to realize like what I need to do a little bit better to make better, just a general view, better content. But then I wasn't to that understanding, so I was getting frustrated. Like, well, I'm making all these videos, but what's happening? Like nothing's really coming of it. And so with that, it all kind of came at a perfect time too, because I think it was that night I stayed up super late watching Casey Neistat's vlogs, and he did vlogs. If you guys know his story, he did vlogs every day for essentially 800 days consecutively. And that is just, I mean, if you sit and think about that, that's just unbelievable. That in itself, vlogging every single day for 800 days, that's just a feat unimaginable at this point. Like people nowadays, the way YouTube is, nobody's insane enough to do that, right? Like that just doesn't happen anymore. I would love to do that, but I would suffer a lot, and it would not be worth it. It would just not be worth it. I would end up hating my life. I would end up hating on YouTube. I would just hate all of it if I did it that often. But that was a different time. But seeing all of that and seeing what he could do in a daily form, and really just me falling in love with his style and his stories and how he does things, that was like, dude, I can do that. And this is something that I touched on last episode, where when you become inspired by whatever it is, at the start, it's going to seem an awful lot like you're copying, right? Like, I was inspired by Casey's vlogs. I essentially copied them to the best of my ability. Obviously, it was not at all the same, like you could tell, but it wasn't very good as far as I didn't do a good job of making it look like his. But I was just inspired. I was inspired, and I wanted to do a daily vlog. So the next morning, I was like, screw it. Or no, I'm sorry. The night before, I was like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and I'm going to vlog. And this was, I think, a really good, I say this all the time, this was a huge turning point for not only the channel, but for me. Because before then, it was, I'll make videos when I can. I wasn't as committed a human in anything. But doing this, I think doing this helped me, because it was a thing of, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to just do it. I don't care if it's good, bad, or whatever. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it for views. I'm not going to do it for subscribers. I'm going to do it because I want to do it. It's for the sake of doing it. Because, I really think that this was a harsh U-turn for me and my channel. I think my why. At that point, I think my why changed. It wasn't to grow a YouTube channel to get monetized. It was, I want to make vlogs because I'm inspired to create this thing. I'm not doing it because I want to get monetized. I'm not doing it because I want to make money on my channel. I'm not doing it because I want to grow. I'm doing it because I want to create this stuff. And I don't think, as far as I'm aware, I don't think the pandemic really shaped the daily vlogs. I think it's one of those types of things where if it's a domino effect, right? So the pandemic made me create certain content at the start to get to the point where I thought that vlogging was what I wanted to do. So in a macro sense, it directly affected what I do now. But also, if you look back, again, I had to experiment with all this stuff because I couldn't vlog. There was no going out and vlogging because you could not hardly go out, period. So once I got into the vlogging space, back into the vlogging space, that was when I really felt some momentum. The channel didn't grow a ton, honestly. That was one of the things that I realized that I thought would go the other way. I thought that when I was posting daily, I would grow really fast. But that just wasn't the case. However, I kept doing it because, again, I just wanted to make this stuff. I wanted to make these videos. And it got to the point where it became a habit. I wanted to do it every single day. And I was just psyched to make these videos every day. And I think the pandemic forcing me to experiment with other content made me realize that vlogging was what I really wanted to do. And then it got to a point, when I was the short time that I was in college, it was the pandemic semester. So you had all kinds of strict stuff, all kinds of, like, you had to wear a mask inside, outside, doesn't matter, on campus. It was always, you had to wear a mask. And so being on campus, I don't think the pandemic is really why I wanted to leave. I think again, it's a domino effect. The pandemic caused me to change my content. And then once it sort of loosened up a little bit, I could change my content back. I started making vlogs. I realized that creating YouTube videos is what I want to do 100% of the time. So once I realized that, I dropped out. And then I decided at that point that was like what I was doing. I'm supposed to do these videos. I'm supposed to make content for YouTube, for whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm supposed to be a creative. That's who I am. And so I think that in the grand scheme of things is why that's what the pandemic did for me. What it did for my content, how it shaped my content, how it shaped who I am. Because if it didn't happen, if the pandemic never happened, who's to say I would have even kept going on YouTube? Who's to say I would have done? Maybe I would become a graphic designer, because that's what I was going to college for, was to be a graphic designer. That's why I think my thumbnails, especially nowadays, that's why I believe my thumbnails are my biggest strength on YouTube, because I have a graphic design brain. I have an artist's brain. So what do they call that? Left-brained, where you're more of a creative, not as organized or strategical human, but more of a whimsical, artistic type of, I don't know, either way. But I think that because the pandemic happened, I had to go through certain steps in my content to get to where I am now, to what I'm making now, to what I'm making that I enjoy. And so with this story, I kind of steered off from the pandemic a little bit, but really the whole theme is, if it did not happen, I don't think I would be doing this right now. It's entirely possible that if the pandemic never happened, I wouldn't be making content. Which, if you think about it enough, with anything, whatever your case is, whatever your personal case is, if you think about how different it would be, it's kind of spooky. Because you really think about, if I wasn't doing this, then I also wouldn't be doing this because I got this opportunity from doing what I'm doing now. So you could go infinitely with that. But that's sort of my story as far as how the COVID-19 pandemic shaped my content. I think it's an extremely valuable thing to think about, but also it's easy to get caught up looking back. You want to just be grateful that you had these experiences that you had in your life, and look forward and really just continue to try and grow, try and evolve, and in my particular case, just continue to make what I'm passionate about and not get caught up in the numbers like I was pre-pandemic, right? So just, the thing. Do what you love. Do what makes you happy. And be grateful that you're where you're at. Because it's always going to be better. It's always going to get better. And it's just continuing to evolve. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode of the GareTheBear Show podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some value out of it. And with that all said, I hope you guys had a great time hanging out with me today. Thank you so much. And I'll talk